What in my life have I been too afraid to do? What in my life do I want to do at this point? Like, do I still believe that I've lived a good life up to this point?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to We Lift Big. I am your host, Bria BYG, personal trainer, video podcast personality, and award-winning performer. My mission is to educate, entertain, and enact a stronger, happier you. Because when we put in the work to achieve habits for lifelong health and self-love, we open ourselves to the amazing opportunities that come with a life well lived. New content coming out weekly, so I need you to get up, fasten your shoes, and lift big.
Now, this is footage that has been taken from one of my recent posts, my PE story 3-year anniversary. And I'm sharing this particular clip with you all because I have what I would call a profound coming to terms moment. And it felt so raw and beautiful watching it back that I decided it deserved its own episode. I'm going to share more of my personal reflection of this clip after I show you all the footage. And I will have links to the YouTube video as well as where you can find this episode on other platforms down below in the comment section. I promise that setting aside the next 12 minutes will be so worth your time. Let's roll the footage now, and I'll see you guys in a moment. Diving into perspective, and so, I was never someone who was like, YOLO, like, I'm invincible. Like, I never really perceived myself as being this invincible person. I perceive myself as being an incredible person, but not invincible. And, but at the same time, it's not that I didn't. Like, I feel like when you're young, I was 23 at the time, it's like, oh, you're young, like, life is exciting, and life should always be exciting, but life is especially exciting, especially, again, having just graduated college. And then I just kind of realized when I was first diagnosed, I had this moment of, oh, this might be it. Well, I guess I've had a pretty good life. I'm engaged. I was engaged at the time. I finished college. I've got to act in some films. Like, I work a good job. Like, okay, like, if this had to be it, my life's been pretty good. And I almost get emotional thinking about it right now, just because that's where I was at. Like, if you've ever had an experience that kind of calls your life into question. I'm not saying this to be cheesy or dramatic or anything like that, but just, it was a very real moment for me. It was the first real time I'd say I really put my life into perspective and was like, okay, in the chance that this is it, I've lived a pretty good life. And so if this next 6 months is it for me, I can be happy. I can be content. I think I was gonna get emotional right now. It's okay, Bria. And I find myself going back there with every false alarm. And the other thing that always seems to come to my mind is just, what have I been afraid to do? What in my life have I been too afraid to do? What in my life do I want to do at this point? Like, do I still believe that I've lived a good life up to this point? And I think as you age, and so again, a lot has happened for me in these past 3 years, and at that time, I feel like I was in a place where I could be content with my life. I was just entering this new chapter in my life, and I was like, well, if this past chapter is what I have, then I'm okay with that. And to be honest, just really reflecting, just even 3 years down the road since I've had some time to dive into this new chapter in my life, like, now that question scares me. Like, have I brought myself to a place where if I was diagnosed again, that I could sit down again and say, hey, you know what, I've lived a pretty good life. And maybe that question scares me more now because I don't feel as confident. And that's kind of funny. You know, I've done a lot of things over the past 3 years. A lot of great things have happened, a lot of bad things have happened, and that's just the nature of life. But overall, the person I am is not the person that I was 3 years ago. And I've had a lot of time to reach goals and make mistakes, and I think that's why it's so important to ask ourselves, to not wait till we are in the hospital to ask ourselves, what in my life have I been too afraid to do? Because life is too fragile to limit ourselves because we are afraid. And it's so easy to remember that in a moment where you're afraid that you might not be around. And again, I'm not saying that to be dramatic, like, it's a very real thing. It's a very real thing to me. And that's why I want to talk about it, is because I don't want people to wait until they have some sort of health scare to really ask themselves what they've been too afraid to do. And then more importantly, I don't want people to wait until something happens for them to be like, oh shit, I guess I better do this thing. Like don't stop waiting. Don't wait. Life is too fragile. You don't know. Like, I didn't expect to get diagnosed with blood clots right after I graduate college, and you don't know what's gonna happen. The whole world didn't know what was gonna happen with this pandemic. Like, no one expected this in terms of 2020, and so just, again, don't wait. If you want to do something with your life, or you want to pursue something, or you want to pursue a relationship, or find forgiveness, or do anything in your life, like, now is the time. Now is really the time to do it, because we don't know how we're going to wake up the next morning. And again, I don't say that to be cheesy. I say that from the bottom of my heart. This is real. This is very real to me, and I hope it's real to you. Getting diagnosed with blood clots just, again, was the first time I really had to ask the question, am I happy? Am I happy with everything I've done with my life so far? And is there anything that I still want to do that I've been too afraid to do. And if I want it to be something that happens in my life, I better get on it. And welcome back, everybody. So, my reflection, essentially what this clip captures for me is that I have lost some confidence in the belief that I have lived a good life. Because of certain things that have happened in the past 3 years that I have consciously and unconsciously decided to hold against myself and against the belief that I have lived a good life. Long story short, I've been avoiding forgiveness, and I'm not okay with that. And something about this clip has given me the permission that I need to move forward. And that is why it is so profound to me. Now, if you're wondering what those certain things I've been holding against myself are, it doesn't matter. Because big or small, there is shit that we hold against ourselves and others every single day. And some of that shit we are holding on to has begun to hold us back. Everything has a healing point. And there is a point to which the decision to grudge, to regret, to flee begins to do more harm than good. Sarah Montana, in her TED Talk, Why Forgiveness is Worth It, describes the right circumstance for forgiveness as when waiting for what we are owed comes at too high a cost. And so for me, in order to say I have lived a good life, despite my falls, I need to forgive myself for key pain points in my past. I need to give myself grace. And I feel like I can finally do that. I am just so grateful, and I wish this moment upon everyone. Like, if you are holding anything against yourself for whatever reason, it doesn't matter how big or small it is, reaching that point where you can finally move forward is beautiful. And it is a freaking journey to get there. But when you get there, it is so worth it. And I think I've finally gotten there. And so thank you so much for listening all the way or watching all the way through to the end here. And I really genuinely would love your feedback, and I hope that you got something out of this. And with that being said, I love you guys, and I hope you have a beautiful day.